it's really been, let's call it a challenge for me, or a true confession, if you will, of me for the last couple of years, which is leaning way too far into wanting to do good content marketing, thought leadership, et cetera, and not leaning nearly enough into direct marketing. This is something that has been a challenge for me personally, all the way going back to when I moved out here to Los Angeles and wanted to be a rock star, right? Which was the thing that I learned about being a musician or being a writer in Hollywood is that being a musician or a writer in Hollywood is not the job. The job is a sales job. The job is a networking and sales and direct marketing job. And you are selling yourself. You are networking yourself. You are marketing yourself. And I hated doing that. I didn't like that at all. I didn't like feeling like I was pitching me. I always feel uncomfortable in pitching me. I always feel weird about it, sort of promoting me. But that's the job. The writing and the playing of the music and all of that is part of quite honestly, part of the pay, right? Getting to do those experiences is part of what you do for a living. So what I have struggled with, true confession style, in the last couple of years is doing exactly that, right? Sort of being louder, not necessarily loud, but louder at least, or at least, at least mentioning the fact that I need to sell consulting services. I need to sell training. I need to sell things that I do. I'm not just the talent, and I'm not just the content, and I need to actually focus in on occasionally letting my audience and letting people know that, hey, by the way, you can buy stuff too. And it's not I wouldn't say I can do it for other people. I did it for CMI for years. I've done it for other companies for years. I've done it for others. It's hard to do it for my own self. And if in a perfect world, if I had a ton of budget and a ton of things, I would hire people to do this for me. But I need to recognize that it's ultimately my responsibility, and it's something that I'm not terribly good at.
So what is the biggest thing that you are, of all that, what's the biggest thing that you're going to change in 24?
Well, it's funny because I had a client not too long ago, who, let's call them a CMI-like company, small business, family-owned business, but probably doing, let's call it $10 to $15 million a year in revenue. So they had a number of employees that they're a going concern, focused on content, focused on events, focused on training for their particular niche, and they basically, for the first few years of their business, didn't really need to do any marketing. They were skyrocketing quickly, right? Their community ate up what they were doing. And so they got a little bit successful quickly. And then they really started to struggle with moving the needle at all. And they just weren't doing any marketing at all. They weren't really doing any more. They were creating great content. They were creating great events for their customers. They were creating all these things, but they weren't really doing any marketing or advertising or sort of letting people know that they existed in a new way. And when I went in there and did consulting for them, I kind of, they said, well, what should we do? Like, what should we change? And, about our marketing strategy. And I kind of snarkily said, well, have one, basically. In other words, do some marketing. That was my advice to them, was do some marketing. And it's now my own advice to myself, which is do some, right? I need to, and I'm working very diligently over the holiday and have been, over the last, about a 24 marketing plan where I'm going to do some. I'm actually going to put my own cobbler's kids to work, and make some shoes for myself, basically.
Very good.